As we get older, our scoliosis is very likely to get worse simply because of the effects that gravity has on our spines. There are a few things, however, you can do in your exercise regime to help you set yourself up to be strong and healthy so you can enjoy all the activities that you love now and in the long-term future. In this video, I will walk you through what you need to know to make sure you choose the right exercises for you and your body. One of the first things to know is that any exercise that promotes elongation or lengthening of the spine is great for scoliosis. So what does that mean and why is that the case? If you have a look here at my spine t-shirt, if we're imagining kind of gravity pulls us further into the scoliosis, we want to be doing the opposite with our exercise. We want to do things that lengthen our spine. And that doesn't mean bending backwards and it doesn't mean bending forwards. It means up towards the ceiling in this case, if I'm setting myself up in this way. So what poses can do that? One great pose that we've got in yoga is called downward dog. And it looks like this. So what we're thinking about, and many of you have practiced this obviously many times, but I want you to think about how you do the pose. So we're not simply just kind of straightening our legs, and this might be that we're not actually getting the maximum amount of length, but we're thinking already about lengthening crown of the head and tailbone away from each other as we start to lift our sitting bones up towards the ceiling. And I might not even be extending my legs because this is all about elongation or lengthening of the spine. So another pose that is a little bit easier to begin with is the extended puppy pose, where we're simply tucking the toes under and then I'm sending my hips back towards the other side of the room and lengthening with the crown of the head forwards. Notice what I'm not doing. I'm not trying to bring the chest down towards the floor. That would be a shoulder stretch. So I want to think about, what do I want to get out of this practice? So here, I just want to lengthen crown of the head and tailbone in opposite direction to create a little bit of traction for the spine here. So the other thing that we need to think about when we're choosing our exercises or yoga poses is which ones are the ones that are going to help us come out of the scoliosis pattern. So for example, I'm going to take the example of a seated twist. And if I twist myself into one direction, just noticing how far I can twist, feels a little bit restricted. And then I'm thinking about, oh, what about the other side? Actually, I can twist a lot further. I'm actually like an owl in this one, can twist all the way around. So this would be kind of an example of a pose where I would have to question myself a little bit. Is this going to take me out of my scoliosis pattern? Probably not, especially not if I'm twisting to that right side where I can just keep going and probably just making things worse. So if we come back to our example of the extended puppy pose, here I can actually learn how to come out of my scoliosis pattern a little bit more. And we will go through this in much more detail in my 3-day challenge that is coming up. So make sure you check it out after this video. But let's look at that extended puppy pose here. So we already thought about lengthening, but what about if I want to now think about coming out of this right thoracic left lumbar pattern a little bit more? How about I reach through my left arm a little bit more and I think about lengthening through the right waist. So my hips might be slightly shifted over to the left. I'm just going to kind of try and see how this feels like. And then I'm just coming back to kind of the neutral or the regular position. So that would be kind of an example how I am addressing the thoracic curve and the lumbar curve kind of going the other way, just practicing slightly asymmetrically. So what we haven't done here is kind of addressed the rotation. But again, you will learn more about this in the upcoming 3-day challenge where you've got lots of practice with me as well. So maybe you start to think already, which ones are the exercises that I do that can help me with the principles that Christine was suggesting. So one of them was that elongation of the spine, and the other one was thinking about how can we come out of the scoliosis pattern rather than just kind of going into it all the time. And there are plenty of exercises that are out there that are great for scoliosis. So don't be afraid to move. Don't be afraid to try different things, because any movement is still better than no movement at all. So once we've started to understand a little bit better and learn how to come out of our pattern, we need to strengthen and stabilize ourselves, because you might know this, right? If somebody tells you, oh, you need to stand this way, and maybe you bring your right shoulder slightly back and you think about adjusting, bringing the rib cage over the hips and things like that, little adjustments. This is effort, right? It becomes really, really tricky to maintain this. And then you just want to exhale and kind of slouch back. So we need to be able to strengthen and create that support system here in our core to be able to maintain this. So again, Pilates is great for this. You do need to think about strengthening. This goes especially for weight training. Once you start putting in or using a few more kind of hand weights and things like this, that you need to really think about that pattern and that you're not strengthening in your scoliosis pattern. So you always want to do out of the pattern. But using equipment is fantastic. So dumbbells, you can use resistance bands, you can use even the machines at the gym. If you do it with good form, it's going to be great. And if you want to learn more about the exercises that are great for scoliosis, then make sure to join me for the 3-day challenge, where I'm going to teach you how you can tailor your practice to your body and your scoliosis. And it's a great way to kickstart your practice. It's $9 only. There'll be daily practices with me, and I will give you lots and lots of tools to help you move safely and feel more confident and move really well in your body. So if you've ever felt unsure what to practice, what is safe with scoliosis, if you're struggling with pain or body confidence, then this challenge is for you. So head over to movewithscoliosis.com/3-day challenge to sign up, and I really look forward to seeing you there.